I got Miss Mavis. I better do this right.
I literally got out of my work.
I'm going to start. I'm going to go through some general stuff first, and we'll go to the mission models just to kind of help out. So, as far as game rules and challenge rules, robot rules, the definitive rule for everything, if it's in the update, there are updates that come out once a week. If it's in here, if it counterdicts here, this is the definitive rule, the update. The update is always the definitive rule, then your challenge guide. Just keep that in mind. So if they come out with an update that sounds like it counterdicts this, it might, but that means this is the actual rule for the challenge or the game. So.
And Michael, I put somebody in charge on my team of looking for the
updates come out every Friday. They only publish updates on Fridays. So if you look Saturday morning, you shouldn't have to look again for a week. So
we put that into our challenge notebook. We have like a little folder with our challenge on printed out.
Be a good idea.
And we just keep up with those updates.
And they are cumulative, so if you get the most current one, it'll have all the updates they've made for the season. So you don't have to go back and look for previous. This is just very important to look for, because if they change something here, it could affect how you play the game. So I'm going to get that out of the way. Field setup guide. This is the definitive guide for setting up the field. So look in here. It may be counterdicted by a video. If you watch a video, something may look different. It doesn't matter. It's the field setup guide is what you look at. Unless they've counterdicted that or changed it in the update. Otherwise, this is the guide to use. All right, mission model. Who knows the missions? Do you know all the missions? I bet you do. You don't? I know them. I haven't had much time with the field, so.
We're still trying to learn the difference between an axle and a bushing. I'm not a rookie coach, but all my kids are rookie kids. So
you have rookie kids every year. So I don't know how you do.
Start from ground zero every year.
All right. Let's start with the mission models, then we'll go back a little bit to transport rules, because they kind of define those better this year, I think. So, mission models, space travel. So, that's going to be here to start with. So, the big thing actually this one's here to start with. The big issue on this model is your robot, whatever you're transporting, whatever is being launched, has to be independent of the robot before it passes this first joint here. So that way, like if your robot pushes it or whatever, it can't be in contact with it once it hits this point. It's got to be independent and roll it. Now, whether it rolls all the way down or not, that's one thing. If it only rolls part way down, it's still a score at that point.
If your robot's holding this up on the bottom or something,
it shouldn't matter. As long as it's not touching the robot or nothing of the robot's touching the actual element, once it hits this point, you're good. So if you're lifting here, you're good. You're never going to have that issue. So that's pretty easy. Again, you got several elements in base that you can load and launch. So of course, the more you get, the more you. That one's not one to roll very well, but again, as long as it passes that first joint, we're okay. That will score. And then let's see here, space travel. I'm getting these. And the solar panels, basically, is just tilting those back and forth. And again, that's kind of a cooperative element, because the other field's going to have the same thing, which they got a mirror field. But depending on the position of these, you may score points and the other team may score points. So again, look, there's multiple options here. I'm not going to go through them all, but if they're both pointed at the same field, both teams score 22 points, and one, so there's a lot of options. So, and that's a pretty straightforward one there. All right, 3D printer. Where'd my block go? I'm missing a block here. So the 3D printer, the only way to activate the 3D printer, there's a lever inside there, is use this core sample, one of the gray core samples. So whether you get one of these off or get them all off, you have to use the gray core sample to activate the printer, which will eject debris. That's like 18 points right there, but if you actually move it down to the planet down here, you get more points. So that's up. If you just eject it, that's worth quite a few points. If you move it down there, that's worth like another 4 or 5 points. So again, that's up to you guys and your mission, what you want to end up doing with that. So, but it's got to be activated. That's one thing the ref's going to look for. Did you activate it with the core sample? Nope, then it can't score at that point. Crater crossing. We had a good discussion on this one last session. But basically, when you cross this, you have to cross from this side over and push the fence down. What the rule says is you have to be weight bearing between these two pillars. So you can't like push an arm out to knock this down. You actually have to roll something over this that's weight bearing in order to activate that. And it says robot or agent, so get creative. Agent could be, I think on this they show like a set of wheels with an axle between it. If you could launch that over that and knock that down, then
But are we driving over it?
you can drive over it, or
Or
you
you
can
don't.
send an agent
Okay.
over it,
Okay.
it says. So the agent could be, you know, something that rolls off the robot and rolls over that, I guess, based on that. It doesn't say you can't, so
Does it have to go all the way or just push that
as
down?
long as it pushes this down, I think that's all it says, is it has to push down the gate. See here. It just says, make it completely past the gate. So it's got to be past this gate, so it can't sit on the gate, it's got to be past the gate.